This is my recap of Ladies of London, a new show on Bravo. It is season 1, episode 1. I don't know if there was an episode title. So this is a classy show about classy ladies in London. So I decided to look like an absolute slob while I do a recap review. So excuse the way I appear. So basically what it appears in this first episode is that we have 2 social groups of 3 people each. And they're kind of set apart a little bit and we see them interact. Our first group has Caroline, Caprice, and Annabelle. Caroline and Annabelle are from the UK and Caprice is from America, but she's been in the UK for a long time. And they're supposed to be more of the proper set. And on the other side we have Nicole, Marissa, and Juliet, who are all American, and they're supposed to be a little bit on the more unclassy side. So we see them interact. So I'm going to kind of go through each character, who they are, and we saw a very brief amount of them all interacting. So Caroline is British, she's a socialite, has a huge house, 3 kids. She runs like a gift service, which sounds kind of a little bit like an upclass Amazon. I don't really understand it, but she's blonde and she's kind of, you don't cross her, very British, and she's kind of set herself apart as the one who will be dictating what is appropriate British behavior and what is not. And I already kind of love that idea because she's sort of busy under this undertone of everything that she knows what's appropriate. But she's on a reality show on Bravo, so automatically you're kind of like, sure, I get it, you're classy. You know, so there's that. Now, Caprice has been living in the UK for 17 years. She's originally from the US. She was there as a model. As of about 5 years ago, she started a lingerie company. She's somewhere in her late 30s, early 40s. It was kind of vague. I actually am familiar with Caprice because she hosted a challenge on Project Catwalk, which was the Project Runway equivalent in the UK. She did a lingerie challenge for her lingerie line. So I actually thought she was this British person. I didn't know that she was actually American. And she's friends with Caroline, or Caroline, probably Caroline. And Caroline kind of describes her as being as accepted as any American ever can be in British society. So I guess that's where we get Caprice. And I think she has a tendency to judge other Americans even harsher to sort of set herself apart from them. And she is pregnant with her boyfriend. She is 7 months pregnant, and there you go. Now, Annabelle is also very, very British. But Caroline is the sort of proper aristocratic one, or a socialite one. Annabelle is sort of the rock and roll punk undertone that Americans just love about Britain. She was the muse, model, best friend, everything of Alexander McQueen, who was amazing. And I think I actually have heard of Annabelle before because of the news coverage with Alexander McQueen's death. Several years ago. She's just super cool in that British way that I personally am kind of excited to see her, just because that's kind of that, I don't know, that's the part, like that cool punk chick that you kind of wish you could be. That's who she is. And she's going to be doing, she's training to race a horse for charity, sort of in honor of Alexander McQueen. So that's the first social group, and they're very British and they're very reserved and not going to get too worked up and, oh, don't be so loud, and stand around and talk about how things should be. So that's the first social group. Now the second social group, we open up with Noelle, who's been in the UK for 10 years. She's model, fashion, TV. She had an ex-fiance apparently who's rich. She has a new fiance who's supposed to be even richer. And they've been engaged for 4 years because he has this ongoing divorce. And there's this associated scandal going on with it. He spent some time in jail. They think that he would refuse to release to the British court some business dealings, and so he went to jail. He's accused of hiding $400 million from his wife to be, his ex-wife to be. And so this divorce can't finish until, I guess, some of the stuff, financial stuff, gets straightened out. So there's this big scandal, and Noelle's kind of right in the middle of it and being tainted by it. Marissa is from USA. She's actually from, I think they said Newport Beach. She's been there for 5 years. She's husbands with, her husband is someone who owns a big, huge, super cool nightclub. Now, Marissa, I feel, is sort of the one that we're supposed to all relate to the most. She's definitely the type of person that I feel that if I sat down on an airplane next to her, we could totally get along. She wouldn't be too cool for me. She wouldn't be too dumb. We would sit and have a good conversation. And I think that most likely the viewers are going to kind of relate to her as being the closest to who, that's kind of who we would be if we were dropped into this society. She's not super gauche, but she doesn't fit in either. Now, Juliet is the last of our group. She's been in the UK for 3 years. They kind of summarize her as wherever she goes, it's the Juliet show, and she's real loud and boisterous and needs lots of attention. So those are sort of our 2 groups. So we actually open up the whole season and the whole show with Noelle, Marissa, and Juliet getting together to do tea, which is very British. And Juliet immediately kind of rips into Noelle about, you know, scandal and, you know, you don't even know if he's telling the truth, and just really kind of getting on her case. And then we see Caroline, Caprice, and Annabelle kind of planning for this, let's see, Polo in the Park event, which is supposed to open the British season, the British social season. They all go. And, you know, Caroline, Caprice, and Annabelle go together, and they're just too cool for school. And, oh, we don't watch Polo. We just relax on the chaise lounge and all that. Whereas Noelle wears a hat. A hat? Apparently you would never wear a hat to Polo in the Park. Because that's just, oh, that's just trying too hard. Whatever. Noelle, Marissa, and Juliet are like cheering and laughing and, oh, look at the game. And Caroline, Caprice, and Annabelle are rolling their eyes. Oh, look at how excited they are. Oh, so lame. So we kind of already set up this sort of tension between the 2 groups. And what's funny, though, is at the end, everyone's like, oh, well, Juliet's kind of loud, but I'm glad to have met her. I know, that's not even an attempt at an accent. That's just a dumb, snooty voice. So they're all at this point pretending at least to try to be friends and maybe possibly that they're going to be in the same social circle. So I'm kind of excited to see the show. I don't know. I always loved London. I've gone quite a few times. I'd love to go again. I love sort of any of the social scenes that are so weird to me. Like, I don't have anything comparable in my life. So it's just kind of a fun chance to kind of daydream about a situation you would never be in. But of course, I love London, so there's that. Anyway, I will see you guys soon.